What's up, everybody? Welcome to Metal Remains Backstage. My name is Manuel, and with me is Miss Chiara Tricarico from the band Moonlight Haze. Hi, Chiara.
Hello.
It's insane, I don't care, 'cause I'm burning inside. Feel the flames, no more pain, never felt so alive. I just go with the flow, and let life take its course from now.
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How about you?
Well, I'm great. I'm very happy to be here with you and being able to speak about this album we've been listening to this week. But I wanted to know more about what you've been listening to this week.
Well, mainly to my voice students singing all the time. Yeah. Well, I give a couple of spins to the album, as you can imagine. And also, we're getting ready to go back live. So I've been practicing quite a lot new songs. And so next week on Friday, we're going to play the new songs live for the first time. So I've been mainly practicing the new songs taken from Animals.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you have the concert along Trick or Treat, right?
With
On
Trick or
April 1st?
Treat. Yeah.
Okay, great. So
Yeah,
everybody watching this that can come over to watch this concert at the Campus Club in Parma, please do, because you're going to have a great show over there.
Yeah, we'll do our best to bring like a unique show.
Awesome. Well, I personally know what I've been listening to, and it's this album that's called Animus from Moonlight Haze. It's been running nonstop in my car, so I know it all by heart right now. How has been the reception on the album on your side?
Well, so far, the feedback from the audience has been great. We're receiving a lot of comments and messages from all over the world. People seem to be like very happy about the new album. They seem to like it. Yeah, we couldn't be more happy and proud about this because we're very satisfied with the final result of the album. We like our own albums. We're happy that people are liking it.
That's very
too.
important. It's very important because sometimes as an artist, you are not satisfied with what you deliver. And if you are, it means that you have poured everything you have into it. So that's very good. I've seen that this album has been charting on Italy. It's been top albums, not only in metal, just for mainstream music, it's been charting. So that's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It is. We're very happy.
Great. I think that the name of the record is perfect for the mood it transmits, which is very uplifting and encouraging. Did you have any alternative working titles for the album, or was this Animus from the start?
Well, the alternative working title was Moonlight Haze Third.
Hashtag Moonlight Haze Third. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't think about the title of the album before we started working on it. I mean, when we got to listen to all the songs, we were like, okay, the mood of the album is this. A perfect title for it would be Animus, because it is a Latin word and it has multiple meanings, and some of them are like courage and willpower and life force, and those three are the main meanings that inspired us. I think that they suit very well to the album.
Yeah, they suited very well because some of the lyrics, and specifically in this title song, they are very encouraging. A fun fact, in Spanish, animus will be animo. And animo is what you say to someone when you want to cheer him up, when you want this person to continue with his work. So it goes very good together with that for our Spanish-speaking audience.
Okay, I didn't know that. I'm glad that it also has that meaning.
Yeah, it does. In Animus, we can find fantasy, modern topics, and even horror themes in the lyrics. What can you tell us about the inspirations behind the composition of these lyrics?
Well, as usual, I take care about all the lyrics, and most of them are like very introspective, mainly talk about the relationship between our inner self and the world surrounding us. But some of them are also inspired by like legends, by everyday life as well. And since you mentioned the horror part of the album, well, the final track of the album is entitled Horror and Thunder. And it is inspired by an actual story happened to us.
Oh, really? Can you share that?
Yeah, I will tell you. After most of our shows had been canceled due to the pandemic, we decided to hold ourselves up in a very isolated place up in the mountains, like in the middle of nowhere. It was just the five of us, the whole band. We stayed there because we already wrote a couple of melodies and we had some new ideas for new songs going on. And at that point, we decided, okay, let's spend an entire week, only the five of us, and rehearse a little bit because we had like a couple of surviving shows that were about to happen in like the following month. And everything went 100% smooth. We had a lot of fun. We rehearsed. We also got a chance to like walk in the woods all together. We had a great time. So the last night we were a little bit, sad because we had to leave the day after. So we already packed all of our gear and everything. And we were having like our last dinner all together before leaving. And all of a sudden, a big storm came. Yeah, it was
The
like
forest
very
didn't
windy.
want you to go.
Yeah, exactly. There was also hail falling from the sky, as I say in the lyrics, right onto our cars. And also electricity went down. We were completely isolated from the rest of the world. Our mobile phones weren't working anymore. And, five guys up in the mountains, isolated from the rest of the world. To me, it seemed like the beginning of an horror story or a movie. It's like the perfect beginning for a horror story. And also our bass player, the guy with the big guitar with
Yep.
less strings, got the chance to prank me a lot of times because it was like hiding behind every single door of the place we were living in, and it was popping out every time I passed by, and I was screaming like crazy. And I don't know, it was funny and scary at the same time. So after that, we were like, okay, we have to write a song about what happened. So,
Yeah.
and also I got my revenge because I forced him to sing the male parts of the song. So
I see. Well, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Who was this male singer? I initially thought it was Alessandra from Trick or Treat because I figured you might have this guest vocalist if you were working together, as you are now, especially coming from the same record label. But that was just my wild guess. It was very wrong.
that's another Alessandro, our very own Alessandro.
Okay. Well, that's a very fun story. And it's something I noticed about your lyrics. They are very contemporary written. Most symphonic metal bands will tend to be very fantastic driven. And you have some of that, but you also have the current times side of it. And that makes it very different to other bands. And it makes some people, like myself, to feel more intrigued or captured by those lyrics. So that's very good. There is something I read somewhere that there's a fun story also about the melody for It's Insane. Can you share us how this came to be?
Yeah, that's very funny as well. One day I was driving back home from the grocery store, and all of a sudden, the melody, which is now the chorus of It's Insane, came to my mind, and I had to pull over, and I recorded a voice message to Giulio. I was basically humming like in the beginning of the song. So I sent that voice message to Giulio, and I was like, Giulio, I got the new chorus for a new single for the next album, and we gotta like write a song around it. And he was like, okay, let's do it. I like it. Yeah. So I was driving back from the grocery store.
Well, that's insane.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, it's very catchy, and that's something that I like about your songs. They are very upbeat. You're not looking to scare anybody with this. You're not looking to shoo people away from your music, but the opposite, which is bring people together. And that's very It's very different for me that I almost always listen to dark things or to very obscure stuff. It lighten up my days in a different way. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Glad that you got the message behind the lyrics.
Yes, the title song Animus includes harsh vocals by you that takes new fans by surprise. You've done this before, like in The Dangerous Art of Overthinking and Without You from your previous album Lunaris. Are you saving this vocal technique only for special occasions?
Well, actually, yes, because when it comes to adding a new vocal style to a new song, I like to think about my voice as if it was an instrument. So, you don't want to get like a guitar solo for the whole song or whatever. So you want the guitar solo when it's needed. And the same happens with different vocal styles. I don't want to go operatic all the time or to sing my harsh vocals all the time. I really thought that the title track needed some harsh vocals to represent a very specific thing, and that is the darkest part of ourselves. I mean, the lyrics talk about like going beyond our limits and fall and then try again. And yeah, very often a part of our inner self that is scared and that tells us that we will not succeed. And I wanted to represent that inner force with my harsh vocals. That happens in the second verse of the song. So the lyrics go like, what if I sleep today? My efforts will be vain. My fear of ice is getting stronger, But in the final part of the song, all that rage and all that strain turn into something extremely positive. And the lyrics go like, unleash your inner force. So sometimes we can like turn our fears into something that pushes us through our limits. So yeah, that's the meaning of the harsh vocals. And I didn't detect any other song in which harsh vocals were needed. So I only added them there.
Well, it's very well used, I think. Well, you're a professional in this. You know this way more than I can possibly tell the audience, but it's very well used, and I think it's very effective. And in the video, this is also portrayed perfectly. This is the parkour video, right? We saw some weeks before launch day. We liked it a lot. I want to be honest with you. I've never listened to your band before that. That was the first time I did, because we feature videos on our show and we try to give them like short descriptions, sometimes funny descriptions. We don't want to make fun of artists, but we want to, make this section like positive for the audience. We couldn't find any way to make this funny because it was very inspiring. And also for your other video that you launched promoting this album, which was for It's Insane, that was something like group of friends go play paintball until their champagne runs out. We didn't know if it was champagne or wine. What was it?
Well, it was, of course, blackberry juice.
Okay, that was unexpected.
We're in Italy. So you can imagine it was like red wine or something, maybe.
Yeah. Was it the same type of red wine that you drank in Enigma?
Yeah, it is indeed. It's from a place that they produce it like here in the northeastern part of Italy, and we think that is one of the best red wines we have in northern Italy. So yeah, we're fans,
Well, you have a history of having very good videos. Are you coming up with a new one soon? I mean,
well, who knows?
It's not something we can tell right now.
Maybe not.
Maybe. Okay, maybe it's a good thing because it's not just a no. Well, in addition to your harsh vocals, going back to that, you have a very warm, welcoming voice that you use throughout most of the songs. But it's also accentuated by a very intense soprano-style voice. Can you tell us more about your influences and your vocal education?
Well, how much time do we have?
As much as you want.
Just kidding. To make a long story short, I started with operatic singing. When I was 16, I started like taking operatic singing lessons. And I've always been into classical music, like since when I was a child, because my grandfather plays the violin, and when I was like very young, I could spend like hours listening to him playing his violin. So when I was 9, my family asked me if I wanted to play in any instrument, and I was like, I want to play the piano because if I play the piano, I can like play with my grandfather. So that happened a couple of times, at like a Christmas
Oh, that's nice.
lunch or something. Yeah. So I started taking piano lessons when I was 9. So my background is definitely classical music. And then when I was 16, I decided to take operatic singing lessons because also starting from a very young age, I've always been very like attracted to the opera world. Here in Italy, they used to broadcast operas very early in the morning during the weekends. And back then, I woke up and they were broadcasting like operas on TV. And yeah, and as a child, I was very fascinated by their powerful voices and their stage clothes and everything. So I've always liked that kind of singing style. And obviously, I've always liked singing also when I was a child. And then at 16, I decided to take operatic singing lessons. And like a couple of years before, I discovered metal, and I started listening to metal. And then I also discovered symphonic metal, and I was like, wow, there is
This is
something
it.
that can actually like merge metal and classical music, like my favorite genres, together. And yeah, that happened when I first listened to Wishmasters by Nightwish.
Mhm.
So you can guess that one of my main inspirations back then was Tarja Turunen. And
Sure.
yeah, she's such a great singer. So it all started from that. But then I don't know. I like a lot of singers. I like to listen to very diverse types of music, from classical to metal to pop. I like pop music very much, like Lady Gaga. I love Lady Gaga, and many different styles like folk music. And yeah, so I think that music, as long as it's well written and well produced, and
Sure.
as long as it has a message to deliver to the audience, it's good to listen to it. No matter if it's metal, if it's classical, if it's pop or whatever.
Well, thankfully, you focused yourself on metal because we can get to enjoy these awesome songs from you. Let's see. You have a very active Facebook group of fans that comment and share pictures. They're very happy right now receiving all the albums, signed photos, and merchandising from you. So that's very nice. I was checking it out. And there was someone that was asking if you were going to play all these songs live, especially A Ritual of Fire, which is a very fast song, almost at the end of this album. Are you planning to have all the album played live?
Well, actually, we're not planning to play the whole album live for a very simple reason. We released our second album in summer 2020, and we really think that also our previous album needs to be played live. It deserves it, you
Yeah.
know. So we cannot like play a 2 hours and a half show. So
Hey,
we have
I'm up
to
for it.
squeeze. Okay. Well, maybe in the future, but for the upcoming shows, we're not going to play for such a long time. So we decided to include all the highlights from the whole discography, you know. So we didn't want to leave out tracks from Lunaris because that album didn't have an actual promotion. We played like 4 or 5 shows in support to that album because everything was like postponed or canceled due to the pandemic. So we're for sure including some tracks taken from our previous albums. They
Okay,
deserve
great. Yeah,
to
they-
be played live.
It's
Yeah.
like having children, and they haven't been able to play outside with their friends. They also need to have their opportunity. So yeah, that makes
Exactly.
perfect sense. One more question. This is from Carlos, my co-host, because we've been interacting with many artists from northern Italy. This is what he asks. The metal scene in northern Italy seems to be very prolific. There are lots of great bands from over there, lots of female fronted acts as well. Why do you think there is so much talent in that region?
Well, actually, when we think about our band, we don't like to think about us as part of a specific category like female fronted or Italian metal or whatever metal. I mean, we think about us as Moonlight Haze, so we're us, and I think it's a coincidence that we are from northern Italy. If we were born somewhere else in the world, maybe we could never play together, maybe, or maybe we would have still played together. But we don't like to put boundaries like that is female fronted metal, that is symphonic metal. We don't think about ourselves as a female fronted metal. Of course, I am a girl, so there's nothing I can do about it. So I have shorter vocal folds, and yeah, I have a soprano voice. There's nothing I can do about it.
You can sing with it, and we are very, very thankful you do.
Thank you. So, yeah, we don't feel like we are part of a specific metal scene or specific genre. As you might have noticed, we like to experiment quite a lot as well. Mm-hmm. So we like pop music, we like add some pop elements to the song. We like electro music, let's add them. We like folk instruments, why not? So when we first started this band, our main goal was to play music that we actually like. So we decided to put anything that we might like into our music. That was our main goal when we started, and it's still our main goal. So we want to play music that we actually like, no matter what it is. So
okay, that's great. And I think it makes sense because you stand out. There's a lot of bands that might apply these terms to them, but they are limited by those boundaries, and you are obviously coming in and out of any type of description. So I congratulate you for that. I hope you continue with it. That will bring you lots of success, and it brings lots of joy to your fans. And I know because I've been part of that now with this release.
Thanks a lot for your support, and say hi to Carlos.
Yes. Hi, Carlos.
I hope I will meet him in person one day.
Sure. Whenever you go to tour the US, which I hope you do soon, because it's
Hopefully.
a very large market. But please come to the rest of Europe first, because we also need to have some shows in inner cities.
Yeah, so hopefully soon.
Okay. And any last words you want to add before we finish?
Well, thanks a lot for your interview. Thank you, Metal Remains. Hope to see you all guys on the road very soon.
We do also. Thank you for watching this video to everybody. Please support Moonlight Haze. They have recently launched Animus. They just released it last week, and you can buy the album, buy the special editions that, if they are any still left, because I think they blew from the stores right away. Share their videos, which are very good. And also don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share our videos as well. And I hope to see you again in the road. But until then, stay metal!